Good afternoon, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies for this week with today's Monday's Musings on the 11th of March. I've been really feeling into the energy today and it's very multifaceted. Right down to the cards that I decided to work with. You know, on the one hand I could feel the dragon energy, on another hand I could feel real magical potential energy. I can feel fire building up for people in particular, myself included. This morning on my walk I really sensed a return of some much needed swagger. Really sensing into that power, that coming back of power for individuals. Feeling into that today, knowing how to best navigate it, how to best almost be everything for everyone. It's that's coming to an end. And as that does so this week, this desire to be everything for everybody, as that desire wanes this week, so too will the return of our own energy come. So sensing into that, the cards that I've chosen to work with are the Runic Tarot because they feel old, they feel solid, reliable. You know, the runes were probably one of the first energies I actually felt into as a child. When people ask me, do I remember connecting to the tarot? What was the first time I connected to the tarot? I actually don't, but I do remember the runes as a pivotal point in my life. And that feels quite pivotal this week, recognizing some major game-changing energy that has occurred in your life and what it is you have gained from those moments, because it's that we're going to take forward. So for me, the Runic Tarot are very almost masculine in their nature, but they're not. They're very strong, they're very full of wisdom, but they're very direct and to the point. And that personally feels like the energy that I'm being asked to take forward, to step into, to witness and embody as I become perhaps a side of myself that I may have tried to placate. And that's going to come to the surface for people this week. Those parts of ourselves that may not have fitted in, that may not have felt comfortable, that we may have had judgments on or perceptions of how they need to be, they're going to come to light this week for the wisdom that they hold, for the foundation that they have been throughout our own journeys. An example, walking with my dog today, dancing and singing to Christina Aguilera at the top of my voice, really not caring what people think. That's a beautiful trait, but it's a trait that has no doubt come from getting to the point where I realised that it didn't matter who I was, there was always someone that I was going to piss off. This week in particular, there can be things that almost feel quite frustrating, finally coming to a head for you to realise that it isn't about how others see us. We know this anyway, but really isn't about how others see us, that you're not going to be able to please everybody, that you're not going to be able to cater to the tastes of everybody, because you are here to stand in your own energy, be who you are and navigate towards the impact that has for the people, the situations, the circumstances, even the areas that you live, the impact that has. You can't do it while you're trying to, what I hear is stay in your own lane this week. Stay in your own lane. Now that doesn't mean don't expand, that doesn't mean don't dip our toes, that doesn't mean don't experience new things, because we are ever growing, we are multi-dimensional. However, by staying in your own lane, what I mean is to stay in your own body, to stay in your own energy. We can learn from things, but ultimately keep coming back to the truth and the wisdom and the lessons and the teachings of yourself. It doesn't matter, with the tarot cards, if you pick up a book and you read that book for interpretation purposes, it's still someone else's view of that image, that card, and it will only get you so far. And this week we're really being asked to hone into the wisdom that we have gained from walking our path, our interpretations of what is going on, and to really stand in them and be honest with them, to embrace them for the clarity that they're trying to bring, regardless how we may feel about it. This morning on my walk, walking with my swagger and all that kind of stuff, it didn't feel very humble. It felt very arrogant. It felt very proud, very sexy, very strong. And there was this little voice in my head that was like, well, look at you. Who do you think you are? And that is going to come up for some of us this week, so that we can say this is who I am. This is who I know I am. that is going to change how we see things, ourselves included. So I'm going to work with the Runic Tarot. I'm going to recognize and advise others as well that we cannot be everything for everybody. We're not supposed to be everything for everybody, and that our taste, what we offer, will be right for the people that want it, need it, are searching for it. And to perhaps not spend too much time and attention trying to get the appraisal, the thanks, the gratitude, the recognition even from areas in our life where you are not there to have an impact, to bring it back and to really look at why we may seek recognition from certain places we know we're not going to get them. What does that do for us? What narrative does that continue to feed? You know, really feeling into where it is we now need to let go and come back to who we are. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to work with the Runic Tarot with that. I'm going to work with them because, yes, they are almost very masculine, but they're more of a nurturing masculine. They're more of a tough love. And for me, that's how I work. That's how I've been brought up. That is the undercurrent of a lot of the work that I do, particularly with midwifery and soul midwifery. It's the empowerment side of it. It is the compassion to go beyond empathy. I can see how you feel, I can relate, or I can hold space or whatever, to go beyond empathy to the compassion of, but I also see that more evolved side of you that's trying to come through. How can we work with that? And this week, that is what the energy is going to be. It's not tough love, it's beyond tough love. It's I want to say justice. It's truth, you know. It's not about good, bad, or, you know, any of that kind of energy this week. It just is this week. And that can be an almost bitter pill to swallow, but a necessary medicine nevertheless. So with that in mind, I'm going to work with the Runic Tarot, and we're going to look at the energies this week, because it also feels quite important to not get in, get done, get out, but not to dilute our energy from the belief that what we're giving isn't enough. I know fully well that whoever sees this message will get what they need one way or another in whatever is given, in the way that it is given and when it is received. And there's a big emphasis there on that trust this week. People will only get what they need from where they're at. Showing up, doing you, giving permission for others to do the same. So on that note, energies for this week, and it feels so light, and it feels so strong, and it feels so fucking needed. Really needed. It's almost like a full circle, a reawakening of what it means to be spiritual, not to go beyond our body but to bring our body in, not to go beyond our truth but to really stand firm in our truth, not to let that situation rule all future situations, but to know that in order for us to move forward, we must acknowledge where we are. You know, no matter how uncomfortable that may be. And it's only uncomfortable because we feel out of control. We feel as if we have no say. We feel as if all choices are taken from us. And actually, sometimes the discomfort is knowing that we can change things. There are things that we can change. And it can almost be this week the avoidance of that is causing the pain. Okay. Examples, you know, if there's situations that aren't feeding you, that aren't sustaining you, that aren't helping you to be in your best self, and you've done what you need to do there, then move on. That's a choice. It's always a choice. And that doesn't mean you have to move on from the situation, but you can move on from your stories regarding that situation. And that feels like key, to know that the slightest of change, what I see is adjustments, manipulations, almost like when I went to my chiropractor. They can be the smallest adjustment this week, and it will make a huge impact. And that can be your mindset, that can be your energy. This morning, what shifted everything was music for me. What shifted everything was being in my body to a beat that sang to my soul, you know, acknowledging that energy within me. I didn't have to go around saying to everybody, "Wow, this is da 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 da." I felt it myself, and sometimes that can be the biggest change, to feel the shift that is needed within you and be responsible for that, to be the guardian for that. And underneath we do have the Justice card. So I'm going to use the cards from where they are. I'm not going to shuffle them again because we've already mentioned Justice once and it's come back up again. So remembering that this week, that it is all about drawing a line. It is all about the balance now of our mental attitude and our actions, and how much we believe in that. And we're going to be shown where we don't. You know, you can see this wolf here, you can see this animal emotions here, where enough is enough, and it's going to get louder, and it's going to almost howl within us, and it's up to us to listen to it first so that we can then let that guide us rather than it attack others. It is there to serve us. This emotional wisdom is there to serve us, to look at what changes we need to bring into alignment with ourselves. Okay. And recognizing that that is my interpretation of it. Recognizing that that is how I see things. So with this video, with anything this week, it either resonates or it doesn't. Don't make something fit. But I would encourage you to look at, perhaps with curiosity, why it doesn't resonate. Because there's always wisdom in all situations. Not to get lost down the rabbit hole, because you know, the rabbit hole is our own making. So we go as far as we're willing to go, and we discover what we're willing to open ourselves up to. But to definitely notice the rabbit holes and maybe dip our toes in it this week, our own included. So Monday, Tuesday. Come Wednesday, it's like a sigh of relief. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, it's really interesting, you know, much as this deck, the Runic Tarot, and they're by Jack Sephiroth and Alan Dempster. Beautiful, beautiful cards. Much as I said they're more of a masculine energy, the reason I chose them was because they portray the feminine, they portray the intuitive insights as well in a more driven, focused manner. They're a deep union for me personally, these cards, of not just our masculine and our feminine, but the masculine within the feminine and the feminine within the masculine. They're a real sense of beyond polarities now, these cards, and that this week is what we're facing, to go at invitation, a temptation to go beyond polarity now, to go beyond masculine and feminine, and back to the original emotion, back to the original source, the original feeling. And that is going to start on the Monday. But before I include that, the reason I mention that is this week the cards are all feminine based. They all have feminine characters in, apart from the only major arcana that we have. Oh, sorry, we have two, but one of the major arcanas, which is the Hermit, is a masculine energy, and the Moon, ironically enough, is a masculine energy. So when it comes to our emotions, really feeling the need to go within first before we act this week, and recognizing that isn't actually the feminine that's calling us to do that. That is our own drive encouraging us to do that. That is, it's not that we're going within to reflect, we are going within to find the actions that we are seeking externally. I can hear next door's dog, bless its heart, howling because it's been left alone, and there is some wounding there in regards to our animal instinct. I'm looking at the strength card on the Wednesday, and how well we embody, how well we nurture those emotions, that longing to be part of a pack. You know, a lot of the times when we stop being who we are, it's because we want to fit in, and we want to fit in because we want to belong. It's a human condition, and it's part of our survival, and no one's suggesting that we move away from that, but that we pick the pack that accepts us for who we are. That doesn't mean they may always like who we are, but they accept who we are. On the Monday, yes, it is very heart driven, it is very heart led, and it is about listening to those howls. So I'm finding it very uncomfortable to hear next door's puppy calling, and it can almost throw me off. It can almost disconnect me from my intuition, disconnect me from the flow. But if I go deeper into that, what I'm being asked to do here is to open my heart space, to be aware of what I'm feeling for other people, but also recognize the impact that that has. This week, particularly on the Monday, there is a awakening within the heart energy. There is awakening as we go to the next level here of empathy, knowing that to feel something and recognize something in someone is to also recognize that in yourself. So being very aware of the guidance that we give others and ensuring that we take it on board ourselves. How often do we suggest that people take it easy or see themselves for their greatness or whatever that may be, but when it comes to our own turn, we then lose that. So really feeling into that this week. On the Tuesday, what we get is an opportunity to ground this inner energy now, to embody the feminine rather than defend it, to embody it from a more lighter stance. And the way that we do that is to keep looking back into our heart, keep going back into that heart space that's going to guide us both individually and collectively this week. There is some foggy energy between the Monday and the Tuesday, and it is to do with disruptions, and it is to do with things that we may hear, things we may feel, pain in particular, loneliness, sorrow, a sense of abandonment. What is I don't want to say abandonment issues, but really being aware of that sense of abandonment and the impact that that may have had on our ability to open the heart to who we are and stand firm in that. It's going to be pivotal because on the Monday and Tuesday, it's going to bring up perhaps ideas, perhaps dreams, perhaps realizations of who we are and who we would like to take forward. But if we're so consumed with being left alone because of that, then none of that will actually take off. So on the Monday and the Tuesday, being aware of that, not needing to defend ourselves from that or others from that, but just standing firm and taking a good look into the heart space. It is going to take courage. It is going to take strength to listen to these emotions that have been howling for some in particular a long time, underneath, hidden almost as an illusion in our actions. How many times this week are we going to have the opportunity to see that we are acting from a place of loneliness, that we are acting from a place of fear, that we are acting from a place of abandonment? It is going to come up, and it is going to be behind a lot of the indecisions that we have. It's deeper than abandonment from our families. It's deeper than abandonment from our jobs, our homes, our situations, our loved ones. It's more an abandonment from our own emotional wisdom here. Overthinking is what has given us the benefit of reflecting, pausing, particularly on the Thursday, giving us the benefit of stepping back and coming into our heart, but also the wariness that we may end up holding ourselves back, perhaps where we don't need to, because we're protecting ourselves and protecting others, or we may believe we are, from this real wild wisdom that is within us. And it can make us feel naked. It can make us feel as if we're in the darkness, as if we're in the abyss, as if we almost have to defend who we are. That isn't the case. On the Friday, we're being really encouraged to go in deeper with the Hermit, the second major arcana this week, to go in deeper, to really sense what is going on. And you can see here that the Isa rune has actually gone from the swords. It's gone from our mentality into our third eye. Go deeper. Have time and patience on the Friday to see what it is we actually see, what it is we're trying to manifest, with ourselves included. Okay. On the Saturday, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and the Saturday there's an opportunity. I love this. On the Wednesday, we have the Strength card. And it is really about connecting to our emotions and our wisdom and our own divinity here, and listening with gentle compassion and patience to what is occurring. And then on the Saturday, you can see that that character has almost been the very comfort that she now resides on. What I'm intrigued to see here is almost as if she's had to slaughter that energy in order to be comfortable. And on the Tuesday, we have that shield here. So you can see that the Tuesday, the Wednesday and the Saturday are days particularly to look out for. It isn't about defending our stance. It isn't about killing or slaughtering our strength or allowing that to happen to us. You know, the wealth isn't there. If anything, that can make us feel quite despondent to our journey and help us lose or lack compassion for ourselves and for each other. There's a fine line between tough love and pure detachment almost. So tough love, even that notion itself almost feels as if it needs to be rectified or rebalanced or re-established, what that actually means. Empowered love, perhaps, really feeling into that come the weekend. It's that's going to help us bring forth. If we could see our own upbringing, our own life, our own situation, rather from a place of stern, tough love, more from a situation of empowerment, that would really change the game. And you see that on the Sunday. You know, there's a new way of thinking on the Sunday. We've gone through this whole journey of opening our heart, becoming more grounded in our own feminine and who we are, feeling into the emotions of that and the indecision that comes with that. It's very easy to be one way. You know, it's very easy to accept and to swallow things that we may not want to even think about if we can downplay who we are. But come the Thursday, that is going to lead to some indecisions. You can't lie to yourself. The body keeps score. And Friday, we're being encouraged to go within with that, so that Saturday we can really feel into the comforts that may not be as comforting as we thought they were, and really address what our needs are now. so that come the Sunday, there is a time to rise. And that is what I'm feeling. I'm really sensing this awakening within. It's not within the feminine, it's not within the earth, there's something else here, an awakening within the emotions perhaps. So okay, now I can see what it is. The other archetype this week, the other major arcana this week is the moon, and this one also has the more masculine energy, but what I see underneath is the rose. The rose that is being protected here. There's an awakening here of blossoming, of beauty, of the beauty way, of the ley lineness, of the rose lineage within us all, regardless of gender. And it is awakening. We are feeling that. And it isn't masculine, and it isn't feminine, and it isn't raw, and it isn't yin and relaxed and flowy. It's a whole different energy than we are used to. It's like a culmination of them all, and ironically it's been underneath everything. This week we are going to be shown where we may have been becoming an illusion for ourselves, where we may have been eluding ourselves from the truth that we've always been ready to face, but that we've wanted to understand, that we've wanted to connect to, that we've wanted to work alongside first. This week in particular is a time to really sense into the magic of it all, to really feel into what we believe we don't understand, to have time and patience with our mind while it catches up, to listen into the discomfort and the almost misalignment that the external environment can have on us, particularly when it comes to pain, particularly when it comes to wounds, to examine how well we can stand and witness that. You know, we talk a lot about justice and fairness in this world. These things need to be seen first in order to recognise where there may be an imbalance, and we are no different. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 major arcanas. The creativity, the way forward, the birth, what is trying to be seen and trying to occur within us. We actually have 4 because we have justice underneath. Comes from recognising that this isn't just about us, that this is a far bigger vision, that this is a stability and a more structured way of moving forward, individually and collectively. If we can recognise the illusion of strength that has almost been dictated to us, if we can go within and have stillness with the image that we hold for ourselves, for strength itself, for the rest of the energy of this year, for what justice actually means, if we can defend and activate those cycles within us, if we can recognise where we may be fighting for a cause that doesn't need us to fight for it, merely to stand and witness, there is a great opportunity this week to bring forth from a more heart-led direction a new way of thinking, a new way of creating, a new way of manifesting that is more in alignment with wisdom, with ancient magic, with the very seasons that we are surrounded with, all by feeling into the truth of our emotions. We can get very caught up in sensing where something comes from, finding the story behind it, healing it, shifting it, and we forget to actually feel. When we feel something, particularly in the heart space this week, and allow that to be witnessed, allow time for that. Oh, my screen just flickered. Things start to shift naturally. What I see here is the lotus on the Monday, but for the week overall, the lotus. You know, when they have that saying about lotus not needing to be rooted in mud, but it grows in water. There's a huge emphasis this week to really feel into our emotions, particularly when there's uncertainty, to trust what comes to us, to flow with that, to be as present with that as we can, as grounded with that as we can, regardless, or perhaps be even more because of what is going on around us. So when it comes to minor arcana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5, and the turning point for us is to embrace our elemental wisdom. The turning point for us is to recognize, if we listen to our emotions and let them guide us, they will move us forward. If we block them and hold them back, they won't. However, if we let our emotions do all the talking, that may block us as well. So the key here this week is balance. Balance with our emotions, which will only come if we feel them. So there's 1 cup card, there's 2 pentacle cards, and there's 2 sword cards here. Going back to the heart space, finding the balance in how we ground into where we are is what's going to bring the wisdom of what it is we now need to bring forth for us. And yes, that may not be comfortable. Yes, that may be, I've got really itchy left eye. Yes, that may mean that we need to have a real good look at our feminine and how we view our feminine. A real good look at, have we worked with our strength or have we slain it? Have we used our own divinity to really help us move forward, or have we become comfortable with the limitations and the perceptions and the expectations of it? You know, being very mature in that by lightening it up a little bit, letting go of the defenses of what we think or feel our connection to the earth is. Letting it all fall this week is going to be key so that something new can come in, because the truth of the matter is, we've always known there's this other wisdom. You can see here the little owl on her shoulder. There's this other wisdom. Can you see it? Yeah. That has been calling us patiently, suggesting, okay, so you've done that and you've done that and you've learned that about yourself. Now can we look at where you're uncomfortable and why? Now can we look at where perhaps you may need to recognize that you're not the immature energy that you think you are, that actually the path that you've walked and the heart that has been opened as a result is now ready for whatever it is you're trying to bring forward. Now can we look at where that can leave you undecided? This is where we move on to the sword cards, and there are 2 of them again. So you have that balance, and you have the 2 of swords and the page of swords, and it's almost as if this feeling that we have to decide between where we were and where we want to go is what's leaving us stood at a standstill. Okay, it's what's leaving us at a standstill here. And actually what is really needed is to feel into the emotions, to feel into that wolf wisdom, that wise wisdom that has been covering us and protecting us. Recognize how naked insecurity and not knowing can actually be. Going into the heart space, knowing that it's not about deciding where we were and where we want to go. It's about being present in where we are. That will impact the past and the future. Looking at why the mind may not want to do that this week is going to be the real turning point. And it does almost seem as if there's a love, a recognition, a receptivity, longing to occur with the body. And it does mean that will instill a sense of discomfort so that it can come in, and to really, really feel into why we would make things better than they are, why we would settle this week is going to come to light. Yes, okay, the truth may be awkward, but it doesn't make it any less true, no? Okay, so let's have one more card. Overall for this week. It isn't going to be easy. You know, I found that quite a difficult reading with the external environment around me. It isn't going to be easy. It is going to be testing this week. It is going to help us expand into who we've always been, but perhaps not been able to see. So 7 of Swords and the 4 of Swords here. There is a rebirth occurring, and the 5 of Cups underneath. And Temperance. There is a rebirth occurring that is encouraging us to move forward from not only grief, but I feel here almost a sense of guilt for wanting to move forward. So really sensing into that. And acknowledging where our mind may not have been quite as honest with us about who we are, what we're capable of, where we're going. Taking time to be with this ending, to be with this change that is occurring, to witness. It's not an egoic death. It almost feels like a timeline death. It almost feels like a lifetime death. It almost feels as if, well, it just feels time. It just feels time, and being okay with that. No matter what the mind says this week, it's time. And these changes that come in, yes, okay, they may remind us of grief. They may make us feel as if we're not ready to move forward. But actually, those emotions, they're coming from a cup that's been turned upside down for far too long. They're not fulfilling, they're not sustaining, they're not bringing back the light and joy that is now needed. And it's that underneath it all. Okay, we have the Two of Cups. It is that underneath it all that is uniting us, not only with our masculine and feminine, it goes beyond this, uniting us with the temperance within us. The true witness, the true beauty of observing, not just externally, but ourselves by feeling. Many temperance cards will show their character watching, chopping wood, carrying water, as if they're detached. And there is a real difference between observing and detachment. And this week we're going to be shown that with ourselves. Take care, have the most incredible week, and I shall see you soon.